Our story begins on Coruscant, where the spires of the galactic capital pierce a sky choked with crimson smog. Deep beneath the city's surface, in a clandestine laboratory pulsing with sterile light, Darth Sidious stands before a glowing tank. Within its viscous fluid, a figure takes shape, a perfect replica of Obi-Wan Kenobi, crafted from DNA harvested after the carnage of Geonosis. The Sith Lord's yellow eyes gleam with malice, his lips curling into a smile as cold as the void. This clone is no mere experiment. It is a weapon designed to shatter the Jedi Order from within, a blade bearing the face of Anakin Skywalker's closest friend. Yet, as Sidious gazes upon his creation, a flicker of unease stirs in his mind. Can a copy of the Jedi Master truly be controlled, or will it become a force even he cannot predict? The clone, later named Kael by Sidious, awakens in a sterile chamber, his mind a storm of fragmented memories and programmed loyalty to the Sith. Unlike Obi-Wan, whose calm resolve anchors him in the light, Kael'wan's thoughts are laced with a simmering rage, a distortion of the Jedi's discipline twisted by Sidious's dark alchemy. He sees flashes of battles he never fought, feels the weight of a lightsaber he never held, and hears the voice of Anakin Skywalker calling him Master. Yet, these memories are not his own. They are implants, designed to make him believe he is Obi-Wan Kenobi, fallen to the dark side. Sidious's plan is intricate. Kael will infiltrate the Jedi Temple, sow discord, and drive Anakin toward the precipice of betrayal. But the Sith Lord underestimates the resilience of Obi-Wan's spirit, even in a cloned vessel. On the surface, the Clone Wars rage on. Obi-Wan Kenobi, unaware of the shadow bearing his face, leads the 212th Attack Battalion alongside Anakin Skywalker on the volcanic world of Mustafar. The two Jedi move with seamless precision, their blue lightsabers carving through waves of battle droids as lava rivers roar below. Anakin, brash and fearless, leaps into the fray, while Obi-Wan covers his flank, his movements a study in controlled elegance. Between strikes, their banter flows. Anakin teases Obi-Wan's cautious tactics, while Obi-Wan counters with dry wit about Anakin's recklessness. Yet, beneath their camaraderie, Obi-Wan senses a growing darkness in Anakin, a flicker of doubt fueled by the war's endless toll and whispers from Chancellor Palpatine. The Jedi Master pushes the thought aside, focusing on the mission, to disable a separatist droid foundry before it can unleash a new wave of destruction. Meanwhile, Kael begins his mission. Clad in robes mirroring Obi-Wan's, he arrives on Coruscant under the guise of a Jedi returning from a covert operation. His forged credentials pass scrutiny, and he steps into the Jedi Temple, his presence cloaked by Sidious's sorcery. The halls, once a sanctuary of light, feel alien to Kael, stirring a strange conflict within him. The implanted memories clash with his programmed directives, creating a fracture in his psyche. He is meant to deceive, to manipulate. But the echo of Obi-Wan's honor lingers, a faint whisper urging restraint. Yoda, meditating in the council chambers, senses a disturbance in the Force, a ripple that feels like Obi-Wan, yet tainted with shadow. The Grand Master's eyes narrow, but he cannot yet pinpoint the source. Kael'wan's first task is to undermine the Jedi's trust in Obi-Wan. He intercepts a transmission meant for Obi-Wan, altering its contents to suggest that the Jedi Master has been secretly negotiating with Count Dooku. The forged message reaches Mace Windu, who frowns as he reads it, his instincts warring with the evidence. The Council summons Obi-Wan back to Coruscant, pulling him from Mustafar mid-campaign. Anakin, left to command alone, feels a pang of abandonment, his frustration mounting as Palpatine's voice echoes in his mind, sowing seeds of doubt about the Jedi's loyalty. Obi-Wan, sensing Anakin's turmoil, promises to return swiftly, but the weight of the Council's summons presses heavily on him. As his shuttle jumps to hyperspace, he meditates, seeking clarity in the Force, unaware that a darker version of himself is already unraveling his world. On Coruscant, Kael Wan moves with calculated precision. He plants subtle lies among the Jedi, whispering to Plo Koon about Obi-Wan's questionable decisions on recent missions and hinting to Ahsoka Tano that her former master's loyalty may be wavering. Ahsoka, still scarred from her departure from the Order, brushes off the doubts, but the words linger, gnawing at her trust. Kael Wan's presence is a poison, slow but relentless, eroding the bonds that hold the Jedi together. Yet his own mind is a battlefield. In quiet moments, he stares at his reflection in a temple fountain, seeing Obi-Wan's face but feeling a stranger's rage. The Sith programming pushes him to act, but the echo of Obi-Wan's compassion resists, creating a growing instability that even Sidious cannot foresee. Obi-Wan arrives at the Jedi Temple, his heart heavy with unease. The Council's questions are sharp, their trust in him shaken by the forged evidence. Mace Windu's gaze is piercing, Yoda's silence deafening. Obi-Wan defends himself with calm conviction, but the seeds of doubt have taken root. As he leaves the chamber, he encounters Kael Wan in a shadowed corridor. For a moment, time freezes. The two men, identical in form, stare at each other. Obi-Wan's hand hovers near his lightsaber, sensing the dark aura emanating from his doppelganger. Kael Wan, caught off guard, feels a surge of conflicting emotions. Hatred for the Jedi, loyalty to Sidious, and a strange, inexplicable pull toward the man he was cloned from. Before words can be spoken, Kael Wan vanishes into the temple's depths, leaving Obi-Wan with a chilling certainty. Something sinister is at play. The tension escalates as Sidious, monitoring from his hidden lair, grows impatient. He orders Kael Wan to accelerate the plan, commanding him to confront Anakin directly. Kael Wan tracks Anakin to the industrial sector of Coruscant, where the young Jedi is overseeing a Republic supply depot. Disguised as Obi-Wan, Kael Wan approaches Anakin, his voice a perfect mimicry of the Jedi Masters. He speaks of the Jedi's failures, their inability to end the war, and Palpatine's vision for a stronger galaxy. Anakin, already wrestling with his own doubts, listens, his anger flaring as Obi-Wan seems to betray everything he stands for. The words cut deep, exploiting Anakin's fear of losing those he loves. But as Kael Wan presses further, urging Anakin to abandon the Jedi, a flicker of suspicion crosses Anakin's mind. The man before him looks like Obi-Wan, sounds like Obi-Wan, but the coldness in his eyes feels wrong. The confrontation is interrupted by Ahsoka, who has been trailing Anakin, her instincts warning her of danger. She ignites her twin lightsabers, demanding answers from the imposter. Kael Wan's facade cracks, and his red lightsaber hisses to life, revealing his true nature. The duel erupts in the depot's shadowed corridors, crates exploding as Ahsoka's green blades clash with Kael Wan's crimson one. Anakin, torn between shock and rage, joins the fight, his blue saber a blur of fury. Kael Wan fights with Obi-Wan's precision, but none of his restraint. His strikes fueled by a dark ferocity that unnerves both Anakin and Ahsoka. The battle spills onto a catwalk above a molten refinery, the air thick with heat and sparks. Ahsoka's agility keeps her one step ahead, but Anakin's raw power drives Kael Wan back, his anger threatening to consume him. Obi-Wan, alerted by the disturbance, races to the scene, his heart pounding as he senses the clash through the Force. He arrives just as Kael Wan disarms Ahsoka, sending her sabers clattering into the abyss. Anakin, roaring with fury, unleashes a barrage of strikes, but Kael Wan counters with eerie familiarity, mirroring Obi-Wan's Soresu form. Obi-Wan leaps into the fray, his blue blade intercepting Kael Wan's next strike. The sight of two Obi-Wans locked in combat freezes Anakin, his mind reeling. Obi-Wan's voice, steady despite the chaos, calls to Anakin, urging him to trust in their bond. Kael-Wan, sensing his plan unraveling, unleashes a wave of force energy, collapsing the catwalk. As the structure buckles, Obi-Wan grabs Anakin and Ahsoka, pulling them to safety, while Kael-Wan escapes into the shadows, his mission incomplete, but his impact undeniable. In the aftermath, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka regroup in the Jedi Temple, their trust shaken, but their resolve unbroken. Obi-Wan reveals the truth of Kael-Wan's existence, piecing together Sidious's plot from the forged transmissions and the clone's dark aura. Anakin, grappling with the betrayal of seeing Obi-Wan turn against him, struggles to reconcile his emotions. Ahsoka, her faith in the Jedi tested once more, vows to stand by her former masters. Yoda, joining them, warns that the Sith's deception runs deeper than they know, and Kael-Wan's creation is only the beginning. As the Jedi prepare to hunt the clone, Sidious watches from his lair, his plans disrupted, but his ambition undeterred. Kael-Wan, now a rogue element, flees to the Outer Rim, his mind a tangle of loyalty, rage, and a growing curiosity about the man he was made from. The galaxy trembles under the weight of deception, its stars casting long shadows across the Outer Rim. On the desolate world of Ryloth, where crimson canyons carve through a wind-swept desert, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Ahsoka Tano pursue the rogue clone Kael-Wan. The Jedi's mission is clear: capture the impostor before he can further Darth Sidious's plans. Yet, within each of them burns a private struggle. Obi-Wan grapples with the violation of his identity, Anakin wrestles with betrayal's sting, and Ahsoka fights to reclaim her trust in the Jedi. Far from Coruscant's gleaming spires, Kael-Wan hides in a forgotten Twi'lek outpost, his mind fracturing as the echo of Obi-Wan's honor battles the Sith's dark programming. Sidious, watching from his shadowed lair, senses the clone's instability but sees opportunity in chaos, his plans shifting like sand in a storm. Obi-Wan leads the trio through Ryloth's labyrinthine canyons, his senses attuned to the Force. The desert air is thick with dust, the sun a merciless blaze overhead. Anakin strides beside him, his jaw clenched, lightsaber hilt gripped tightly as if to anchor his swirling emotions. Ahsoka, ever vigilant, scans the horizon, her white-green leku swaying in the wind. Their bond, forged through countless battles, is strained but unbroken, each drawing strength from the others. Obi-Wan's calm exterior masks a deep unease. The existence of Kael-Wan feels like a theft of his very soul, a perversion of everything he stands for. He senses the clone's presence, a distorted mirror of his own Force signature, lurking in the outpost ahead. The Jedi advance, unaware that Kael-Wan has allied with a band of separatist mercenaries, lured by promises of power and freedom from Sidious's control. Inside the outpost, a crumbling fortress of rusted durasteel and ancient stone, Kael-Wan paces restlessly. His eyes, identical to Obi-Wan's, burn with a conflicted fire. The mercenaries, led by a ruthless Twi'lek named Varn Thal, prepare an ambush, their blasters and vibroblades gleaming under flickering lights. Kael-Wan's programming urges him to destroy the Jedi, but the implanted memories of Obi-Wan's life, moments of camaraderie with Anakin, quiet talks with Qui-Gon Jinn, and the unspoken love for Satine Kryze, stir a longing he cannot name. He clutches his red lightsaber, its hum a constant reminder of his purpose, yet his hand trembles. Sidious's voice echoes in his mind, commanding him to kill, but the clone's heart whispers of redemption, a path he does not yet understand. The Jedi infiltrate the outpost under cover of twilight, their movements silent as shadows. Obi-Wan signals for Anakin and Ahsoka to flank the perimeter, his lightsaber unlit but ready. The air grows heavy with tension, the Force pulsing with danger. As they breach the fortress, the ambush erupts. Blaster bolts sear through the darkness, mercenaries charging from hidden alcoves. Anakin ignites his blue blade, deflecting shots with reckless precision, his anger fueling each swing. Ahsoka leaps over a barrage, her twin sabers a whirlwind of green light, cutting through droids and mercenaries alike. Obi-Wan moves with measured grace, his Soresu form a shield against the onslaught, guiding his companions through the chaos. The trio fights as one, their synergy a testament to their shared history. But the battle is a distraction. Kyle Wan waits deeper within, ready to strike. The Jedi press forward, carving a path through the mercenaries. Varn Thal confronts them in a central chamber, his vibro axe swinging with lethal force. Anakin meets him head-on, their duel a clash of brute strength and cunning. Varn's axe grazes Anakin's arm, drawing blood, but Anakin retaliates with a force push, sending the Twi'lek crashing into a wall. Ahsoka and Obi-Wan dispatch the remaining mercenaries, their blades a blur of light. As the dust settles, Kyle Wan emerges from the shadows, his red saber casting a bloody glow. The sight of him stops Obi-Wan cold, his breath catching at the uncanny resemblance. Anakin's eyes narrow, his anger flaring at the impostor who dared wear his master's face. Ahsoka, sensing the emotional weight, steps protectively between them, her sabers ready. The duel begins with a ferocity that shakes the fortress. Kyle Wan fights with Obi-Wan's precision but a darker edge, his strikes laced with desperation. Obi-Wan counters with calm resolve, his blue blade meeting each attack, searching for an opening not to kill, but to understand. Anakin joins the fray, his saber a storm of fury, but Kyle Wan's agility keeps him at bay. Ahsoka targets Kyle Wan's flanks, her movements a dance of speed and grace, but the clone's force-enhanced reflexes parry her blows. The chamber trembles as their blades clash, sparks raining like stars. Obi-Wan senses the conflict within Kyle Wan, the war between Sith programming and the faint spark of light inherited from his template. He calls out through the Force, not with words, but with a plea for the clone to see the truth. Kyle Wan falters, his strikes slowing as Obi-Wan's presence pierces his fractured mind. Memories of Satine's smile, Anakin's laughter, and the Jedi Temple's serenity flood his thoughts, clashing with Sidious's commands. Anakin, blinded by rage, seizes the moment, unleashing a barrage that drives Kyle Wan to his knees. Obi-Wan shouts for Anakin to stop, sensing the clone's potential for redemption, but Anakin's saber grazes Kyle Wan's shoulder, drawing a hiss of pain. Ahsoka pulls Anakin back, her voice a steady anchor, reminding him of their bond. Kyle Wan, wounded but defiant, summons a burst of Force energy, collapsing a section of the ceiling. The Jedi dive for cover as rubble rains down, and Kyle Wan escapes into the canyons, his heart a battlefield of light and dark. In the aftermath, the Jedi regroup in the outpost's ruins, their breaths heavy with exhaustion and doubt. Obi-Wan kneels beside a shattered column, his mind replaying the duel. He feels a strange kinship with Kyle Wan, a man born of his essence, yet twisted by Sith cruelty. Anakin, nursing his wounded arm, struggles with the betrayal, his trust in Obi-Wan shaken by the clone's deception. Anakin grips his hilt, his impatience a tangible force. Ahsoka, ever the bridge between them, speaks of loyalty, urging Anakin to see Obi-Wan's heart. The Jedi resolve to pursue Kyle Wan, but Obi-Wan's thoughts turn inward. He wonders if the clone's existence is a test, not of his strength, but of his compassion. Yoda's warning echoes in his mind. The Sith's deception is a web, and Kyle Wan is but one thread. Far across the galaxy, on the rain-soaked world of Kamino, Sidious meets with Count Dooku in a sterile cloning facility. The Sith Lord's anger is palpable, his voice a venomous hiss as he berates Dooku for Kyle Wan's failure. Dooku, ever composed, suggests that the clone's instability could be turned to their advantage, proposing a new plan to lure the Jedi into a trap. Sidious agrees, his eyes narrowing as he envisions a confrontation that will break Obi-Wan and push Anakin closer to the dark side. He dispatches Dooku to Mustafar, where Kyle Wan has fled, with orders to manipulate the clone's fractured loyalties. As Dooku's shuttle vanishes into hyperspace, Sidious turns to a holocron, its dark energy pulsing. He knows the Jedi are closing in, but he relishes the chaos, confident that his web will ensnare them all. On Ryloth, the Jedi board their shuttle, their faces set with determination. Obi-Wan meditates, seeking guidance from the Force, while Anakin sharpens his focus, his anger tempered by Ahsoka's steady presence. The hunt for Kyle Wan continues, but the stakes are higher now. The clone is no longer just a weapon. He is a mirror reflecting the Jedi's strengths and vulnerabilities. As their ship jumps to hyperspace, the canyons of Ryloth fade into the distance, but the shadow of Kyle Wan looms larger, a harbinger of the trials to come. The molten rivers of Mustafar roar, their crimson glow bathing the jagged obsidian cliffs in a hellish light. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Ahsoka Tano descend through the planet's choking haze, their shuttle weaving between plumes of ash. They track Kyle Wan to a derelict separatist facility, its skeletal frame perched above a lava fall. The clone's presence pulses in the Force, a warped echo of Obi-Wan's essence, drawing them into a trap orchestrated by Count Dooku and Darth Sidious. Obi-Wan's heart is heavy, torn between duty and a flickering hope to save the clone. Anakin's anger simmers, his trust frayed by Kyle Wan's deception. Ahsoka, resolute, anchors them both, her eyes sharp with purpose. Within the facility, Kyle Wan wrestles with his fractured identity, manipulated by Dooku's promises of freedom, yet haunted by Obi-Wan's lingering light. Sidious watches from Coruscant, his laughter a shadow in the Force, relishing the chaos about to unfold. The Jedi infiltrate the facility, their footsteps muffled by the hum of ancient machinery. The air is thick with heat, the walls scarred by years of neglect. Obi-Wan leads, his blue lightsaber unlit, senses straining for Kyle Wan's presence. Ahsoka scans the shadows, her twin sabers ready. The facility is a maze of rusted corridors and flickering consoles, its silence broken only by the distant roar of lava. As they reach a central chamber, Dooku emerges, his red cape billowing, curved lightsaber igniting with a hiss. His smile is cold, his voice a velvet blade, taunting Obi-Wan for failing to see the Sith's web. Kyle Wan steps from the darkness, his red saber casting a bloody glow, eyes burning with conflict. The trap springs shut as droid sentinels activate, their blasters blazing. The chamber erupts in chaos. Obi-Wan meets Dooku's blade, blue clashing with red in a dance of precision and power. Dooku's Makashi form is elegant, each strike a calculated thrust, but Obi-Wan's Soresu counters flawlessly, deflecting with minimal motion. Anakin charges Kyle Wan, their sabers a storm of blue and red, sparks flying as Anakin's fury drives the clone back. Ahsoka weaves through droid fire, her green blade slicing through metal with surgical grace, her agility a counterpoint to Anakin's raw strength. The droids fall in heaps, but Dooku and Kyle Wan press their advantage, forcing the Jedi into a defensive knot. Obi-Wan senses Kyle Wan's hesitation, the clone's strikes faltering as Obi-Wan's memories flood his mind, images of Anakin's loyalty, Ahsoka's courage, and Satine's love. Dooku, sensing weakness, manipulates Kyle Wan, his voice a venomous whisper, urging the clone to embrace the dark side. Kyle Wan's saber falters, his eyes flickering between rage and doubt. Obi-Wan seizes the moment, disarming Dooku with a swift parry, sending the Sith's blade skittering across the floor. Anakin overwhelms Kyle Wan, knocking him to his knees, but Obi-Wan shouts for restraint, his voice cutting through the chaos. Ahsoka leaps to Obi-Wan's side, her sabers blocking Dooku's force lightning as he retaliates. The chamber trembles, machinery sparking as the battle intensifies. Kyle Wan, torn by conflicting loyalties, unleashes a raw force scream, shattering consoles and hurling debris. The Jedi brace against the blast, but Dooku escapes, vanishing into the facility's depths, his laughter echoing. The Jedi pursue, racing through collapsing corridors, lava seeping through cracks in the walls. Obi-Wan senses Kyle Wan's turmoil, a beacon in the Force, and leads the way to a platform suspended above a churning lava river. Kyle Wan stands alone, his saber lowered, his face a mask of anguish. Obi-Wan steps forward, his voice steady, offering the clone a chance at redemption. Anakin, seething, ignites his saber, but Ahsoka's hand on his arm holds him back, her eyes pleading for trust. Kyle Wan's gaze meets Obi-Wan's, and for a moment, the clone's rage softens, replaced by a flicker of recognition. But Sidious's programming surges, and Kyle Wan attacks, his red blade a blur of desperation. The climax ignites, a duel that shakes the very soul of Mustafar. Obi-Wan meets Kyle Wan's strikes, blue saber flashing, each block a plea for the clone to turn back. Anakin joins, his blade a torrent of fury, driving Kyle Wan toward the platform's edge. Ahsoka flanks, her green sabers weaving through Kyle Wan's defenses, her movements a desperate bid to end the fight without death. The platform buckles, lava spraying as the facility groans. Kyle Wan's strikes grow erratic, his mind fracturing under the weight of Obi-Wan's compassion and Sidious's control. Obi-Wan disarms him, sending the red saber into the lava, but Kyle Wan unleashes a force push, knocking Obi-Wan back. Anakin lunges, his saber grazing Kyle Wan's chest, drawing a cry of pain. Ahsoka leaps between them, her sabers raised, shouting for Anakin to stop. The platform collapses, plunging into the lava river. Obi-Wan grabs Ahsoka, pulling her to safety on a jagged outcrop. Anakin clings to a cable, his eyes locked on Kyle Wan, who dangles precariously above the molten flow. Obi-Wan reaches out through the Force, his voice a beacon of light, urging Kyle Wan to let go of the dark. The clone's eyes, so like Obi-Wan's, fill with tears, the Sith programming crumbling under the weight of his template's resolve. With a final, anguished cry, Kyle Wan releases his grip, falling into the lava, his body consumed by the flames. Obi-Wan bows his head, a silent prayer for the clone's soul, while Anakin's rage fades, replaced by a hollow grief. Ahsoka's hand finds Obi-Wan's, her touch a reminder of their shared strength. The Jedi escape the crumbling facility, their shuttle rising through Mustafar's ash-choked sky. Dooku's escape leaves a bitter sting, but Kyle Wan's death marks a turning point. Obi-Wan reflects on the clone's struggle, seeing it as a mirror of the Jedi's own battle against the dark. Anakin, shaken by the loss, questions his anger, his bond with Obi-Wan and Ahsoka anchoring him to the light. Ahsoka, her faith restored, vows to protect their family. On Coruscant, Sidious rages, his plans thwarted by Kyle Wan's failure, but his mind already weaves a new scheme, targeting Anakin's growing doubts. The Jedi return to the temple, their resolve hardened, unaware that the Sith's shadow looms larger, ready to strike. The scars of Mustafar fade into the galaxy's vast canvas, but their weight lingers in the hearts of those who fought there. On Coruscant, the Jedi Temple stands as a beacon of light amid the city's ceaseless hum, its spires catching the golden hues of dawn. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Ahsoka Tano return, their faces etched with the toll of their battle against Kyle Wan, the clone who bore Obi-Wan's face and a Sith's curse. The loss of the clone, consumed by Mustafar's molten rivers, haunts Obi-Wan, a reminder of the Sith's cruelty and the fragility of identity. Anakin, his anger tempered by grief, seeks solace in his bond with Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Ahsoka, her faith in the Jedi renewed, stands as a bridge between them, her resolve a quiet strength. Far below the city, Darth Sidious seethes, his plans disrupted but not destroyed, his yellow eyes fixed on Anakin as the key to his dark vision. Yet, in the temple's hallowed halls, hope begins to take root, a fragile but defiant light against the gathering shadows. The Jedi Council convenes in their circular chamber, the city's skyline a shimmering backdrop through towering windows. Yoda's eyes, heavy with wisdom, meet Obi-Wan's as the Jedi Master recounts the events on Mustafar. Mace Windu leans forward, his expression stern but softened by trust, questioning the Sith's motives in creating Kyle-Wan. Obi-Wan speaks with measured calm, his voice steady despite the ache in his chest. He describes the clone's struggle, the spark of light that fought against Sidious's programming, and his own failure to save him. The council listens in silence, the weight of the Sith's deception settling over them. Yoda, his voice a soft rumble, speaks of balance, noting that Kyle-Wan's fall was a tragedy, but his resistance a testament to Obi-Wan's enduring spirit. The council resolves to investigate the Sith's cloning operations, dispatching Plo Koon and Kit Fisto to Kamino to uncover Sidious's secrets. Obi-Wan retreats to the temple's meditation gardens, where ancient trees whisper in the breeze. He kneels beside a tranquil fountain, its waters reflecting the stars above. The memory of Kyle-Wan's anguished eyes lingers, a mirror of his own doubts. He wonders if the clone's existence was a warning, a test of his compassion against the Sith's malice. The Force flows around him, gentle but insistent, carrying echoes of Qui-Gon Jinn's wisdom and Satine Kryze's love. Obi-Wan closes his eyes, finding clarity in their memory. He realizes that Kyle-Wan, though born of darkness, carried a piece of his light, a reminder that even the Sith's creations cannot erase the soul of a Jedi. His resolve hardens. He will honor Kyle-Wan's struggle by fighting for the light, no matter the cost. Anakin, meanwhile, seeks solace in the temple's training halls, his lightsaber a blur as he spars with Ahsoka. Their blades clash in a rhythm of trust, blue and green weaving through the air. Anakin's movements are less reckless now, tempered by the lessons of Mustafar. Ahsoka, her agility unmatched, pushes him to focus, her laughter a balm to his wounded spirit. Between strikes, they speak of Kyle-Wan, Anakin admitting his anger blinded him to the clone's pain. Ahsoka, her voice steady, reminds him of their family, Obi-Wan, the clones, and the Jedi who stand with them. Anakin lowers his saber, his eyes softening. He thinks of Padme Amidala, her strength a distant beacon, and vows to protect the galaxy for her, for Obi-Wan, for Ahsoka. Their sparring ends in a shared embrace, a silent promise to face the future together. Ahsoka, ever the wanderer, visits the temple's archives, seeking answers about Sith cloning. Jocasta Nu, the librarian, guides her through ancient texts, their pages whispering of forgotten experiments. Ahsoka's fingers trace the words, her mind racing. She senses the Sith's web tightening, but also a path forward. She shares her findings with Obi-Wan and Anakin, proposing a coordinated effort to expose Sidious's schemes. The trio meets with Captain Rex and Commander Cody, their loyalty unwavering despite the war's toll. Rex, his helmet tucked under his arm, speaks of the clone's pride in serving with the Jedi, his voice thick with emotion. Cody, ever pragmatic, suggests infiltrating Kamino's facilities to destroy any remaining Sith experiments. The plan takes shape, a spark of hope amid the darkness. Across the galaxy, on Kamino's rain-swept platforms, Plo Koon and Kit Fisto uncover evidence of Sidious's cloning program. Hidden chambers reveal abandoned tanks, their contents destroyed, but data logs point to a larger network. The Jedi transmit their findings to the Council, warning of Sidious's reach. On Coruscant, the Senate grows restless, whispers of corruption spreading. Padme Amidala, her resolve unshaken, meets with Bail Organa and Mon Mothma, their voices rising against Palpatine's growing power. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka join them, sharing the truth of Kyle Wan's creation. Padme's eyes meet Anakin's, a silent understanding passing between them. The senators pledge to investigate Palpatine's ties to the Sith, a risky move that could shift the war's tide. Sidious, in his hidden lair, senses the Jedi's defiance. His rage is a cold fire, his plans adapting to the new reality. He summons General Grievous to lead a diversionary assault on Dantooine, drawing Jedi forces away from Coruscant. Yet, he underestimates the unity forged by Kyle Wan's tragedy. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka lead a strike team to Kamino, joined by Rex, Cody, and a squadron of clones. They infiltrate the cloning facility, their sabers cutting through droid defenses. The chambers are empty, the Sith's experiments gone, but a holocron remains, its dark energy pulsing. Obi-Wan destroys it, severing Sidious's link to the facility. The mission is a small victory, a step toward unraveling the Sith's web. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi stand on a temple balcony, the city's lights, a sea of stars below. Obi-Wan speaks of Kyle Wan, not as a failure, but as a reminder of their strength. Anakin, his hand resting on his saber, vows to protect their family, his voice steady with purpose. Ahsoka, her leku swaying in the breeze, smiles, her faith in the Jedi unshaken. The war continues, but the Sith's shadow is weaker now, pierced by the light of their bond. Yoda joins them, his cane tapping softly, his eyes twinkling with hope. He speaks of the Force, its currents flowing toward balance, guided by their courage. The galaxy, scarred but resilient, begins to heal, its people inspired by the Jedi's stand. In the Senate, Padme's voice echoes, calling for unity against corruption. Bail Organa takes the Chancellor's seat after Palpatine's emergency powers are rescinded, a new era dawning. The Jedi Order reforms, its doors open to those who seek the light, not bound by rigid codes. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka lead this change, their scars a testament to their strength. The memory of Kyle Wan lingers, a bittersweet note in their victory, but it fuels their resolve. The Force flows freely, a river of hope washing away the Sith's stains. The galaxy breathes, its stars brighter, its future unwritten, but filled with promise. And folks, that's our story. I loved diving into this what-if tale, exploring Obi-Wan's heart and the bonds that hold the Jedi together. The idea of a clone with his face was a wild ride, inspired by the emotional depth of the Clone Wars. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.